Guys, it's Baruti again. Again, the response to the initial or the inaugural passages with Baruti was so overwhelming, both within texts and emails and comments, that it's very encouraging to actually do this work with you guys. So again, as I said before, I'll choose a book, I will open to a random page, I will then read, and I will provide some reflection on the passage itself. Today's book is going to be from Stanley Andersen, and it's called Three Magic Words. Those of you who are familiar with this book will know that it means a great deal to me, and I will tell you the story, how I came to this book after we finish with the passage. Again, random page, Three Magic Words, Andersen. Faith is affirmation. As has been pointed out before, if some wise and omnipotent being were to live our lives for us, there would be no necessity for faith. This being could simply direct to the subconscious all those premises for good which make our lives full and happy, and they would shortly come to pass. But the whole purpose of our lives is for us to provide the subconscious with conclusions, premises, and knowledge of what we encounter in our specific areas. And what we forward as convictions, the subconscious returns to us in physical reality. If the subconscious mind receives your conviction that you have money, you will have money. If it receives your conviction that you have health, you will have health. If it receives your conviction that you have love, you will indeed have love. If it receives your conviction that you are successful, you will be successful. If it receives your conviction that you are wise, you will indeed have wisdom. Whatever the premise, the subconscious mind will create it into physical reality. See how simple such a premise may be. I have money. Only that, and money is manifested. Why is it that we have such difficulty in doing the simple thing? It is because we lack faith. It is because the thing we want is expressed as hope. And in a million different ways throughout the day, we affirm our faith in the very opposite. Faith is affirmation. Three magic words. Here, this passage brings to mind the importance of possibility versus impossibility. One example I often give to people is taking the word impossible, and I write it and I ask the question, what is this word? And inevitably someone says impossible. I simply say, well, it's a matter of perspective, because if I place an apostrophe between the I and the M and a space between the M and the P, it becomes I'm possible. This passage highlights the importance of you having belief in yourself. As you cultivate the capacity to believe in yourself, to recognize that things are possible and that you are the arbiter of that possibility coming to fruition, because when an idea surfaces within your awareness, you act on it. And in acting on it, you bring these things to fruition. This gets into the brain. Who is it? Henry Ford. If you think you can or cannot, either way, you're right. So with this passage, faith is affirmation, what you're doing is first cultivating belief within yourself and your capacity to do it, because as a human, you have that inherent capacity, but also, too, recognizing that your brain is really, in fact, the vehicle that brings this thing to fruition, because the brain creates and over time strengthens those connections. Why? Based on belief. That which we repeatedly do, we become. That which we repeatedly think about, we act upon. Every action being preceded by a thought has, again, as its substrate, the thought, an idea which begins within your mind, which is predicated upon the ideas to which you've been exposed and have accepted without question. And in accepting them without question, those initially created connections within your brain strengthen. Those strengthened connections, those signals that are the thoughts that travel along those pathways, they can't but inform our thinking and our action. So first, we have to cultivate a belief in ourselves, cultivate a belief in possibility. And so I say, when it comes to the word impossible, think of it as I'm possible. That has been your Passages with Baruti for today. Oh, that's right. I wanted to share with you the story how I came to this. This was the spring of 1993. I met a gentleman whose name I do not recall. Honestly, I can't say that I ever knew it. He was a Freemason. I know this because of the ring that he wore at the time. And we were having this conversation about just life. And I don't know what I said to this guy. And he made me commit to securing this book, 3 Magic Words. He then shakes my hand afterward and said to me, quote, "Young man, I've changed your life for the rest of your life." Now, at that point, I committed to securing the book. I chose to do so. I called around to various bookstores in Atlanta at the time and, found one that could secure the book for me. This was pre-Amazon, of course, 1993. So I had a friend of mine ferry me out to this location to pay for the book in advance. I then waited a couple of weeks or so. They contacted me again, said the book was in. I go back out there with their assistance, and I secure the book. I began studying the book, and I enjoyed the book tremendously. Began having multiple experiences based on the suggestions and practices that are put forth in the book. As a result of that, my life, as this gentleman had remarked, had in fact indeed forever been changed. Fall semester 1994 on campus, I was walking around downtown Atlanta and I ran into him, and he says, "Young man, did you secure the book?" I said, "Yes, sir." "Did you study the book?" I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "What were your results?" My reply was, where do I even begin? And he smiled and he looked at me, he shook my hand, and he said, "Good, let's talk again sometime." And he just disappeared into the crowd. I never saw that gentleman again. I remain eternally grateful for him crossing my path and recommending the book 3 Magic Words, because in fact, this book and the lessons contained therein, I would argue, serve as a substrate for things that have happened since 1993, now 27 years this spring. From undergrad to now, this book has served as a powerful force in my life. And those to whom I've recommended the book and have indeed studied the book, taken its lessons to heart, they've found similar results in their lives as well. So I now share this with you, and I hope you find some value in it, that it means something to someone. If it does, great. If it doesn't, that's okay as well. This is an opportunity to share for those for whom may find some value in it. But again, Passages with Baruti. Next installment, I will share another book, another passage, and my reflections thereon. But again, thank you for your time and your attention. You guys take care. See you next time.